Welcome viewers. In this video we're going to look at completing the install of the USB socket and power socket in the rear compartment for the NT1100. These were previously wired up while we installed the V-Systo camera system, and the videos on how we did that can be found on the channel. So the plan is to put a bulkhead across here from one side to the other, but there is no fixing points to fix anything to. So what I've found is on the right hand side of the motorbike and the left hand side on the frame there is two 8mm threaded holes which I used to hold the bodywork on to the frame. Now they've left a little bit of thread showing there because the bolt doesn't go all the way through, and we're going to utilize that to screw in a stud. Now the stud is an 8mm stud, and I think these are probably about 15mm or 20mm long, something like that. I don't know the exact size, but they were just basically cut with a hacksaw to the same size, and I screwed them into the frame of the motorbike. Now the idea will be I will make a plastic 3D printed part which will have two holes in it which will accept the two sockets, and I will put two hooks on either side of the plastic so it hooks over the bolts and holds the bulkhead in place. Now the method I'm using here might look a little bit crude, but it works, and I've used this method in the past for doing other projects and making things, and it works quite well. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make a cardboard template that I'm going to place in the position where the bulkhead is going to be, and I've started that by cutting this bit of cardboard the right width that we need. And there is two parts of the frame cutouts which I first of all cut out because I thought I was going to be able to need that, but it turned out that I only needed one of the cutouts. So once I've got this cardboard fitted, and you can see there I've cut the shape of the mudguard as well there, and that will give us a good idea of how it fits. Once we've got the cardboard in place, we need to make it a little bit more accurate. So it's very hard to cut it accurate and get it in to start with. So you put the cardboard template that you've cut, the rough one, and what you do, you get tape and you finish the rest of it off with tape as close as you need to the profile that you're going to use. Now I did this on both sides, and then once I'd got both sides done, as you can see, I didn't use the cutout on that side, and that's what I ended up with, a cardboard template. I stuck it to the base, and I had a bit of cardboard on the right hand side just to make it vertical, to make sure it's good fit. I then cut the two holes out for the sockets to go in, and that just gives me a mock-up of what I'm going to do. And once this bulkhead is in place, we will have a section there to put our tools in. So we removed the template that we made, and this is what we had. A bit rough. We drew it on a piece of paper. We measured the dimensions as good as we could get, and I drew this up in Fusion 360 and 3D printed this part, which is a prototype part made of plastic. And we just checked it for fit to make sure I was happy with how it was going to go, and I was quite happy. These are only temporary. So once I was happy with it, I printed a proper part in black, and you can see here there's the two slots or hooks that I've made, so that when I put it into the motorbike here, as you can see, the two bolts will hook in to the hooks that I've made there. Now this part of installation of the bulkhead was a little bit fiddly because I had to get it in the first place, and it was tight, so I wanted it to be no movement when it was installed, and it took me a few minutes just to set it all up. Now the idea of having this bulkhead here and the sockets in the back of my motorbike is so that I've got a 12-volt supply and a USB supply for battery charging and phone charging in the rear portion of the seat, so that when I lift the seat out I can put my mobile phone or charge batteries or something where my tool kit's going to be. So for me, I need that, and that's why I'm putting these in. Because the NT1100 has a 12-volt power socket on the dashboard, and it also has a USB on the dashboard, but the USB is for the Android Auto. Now, as you can see here, once the bulkhead is in, them two hooks are over the bolts, and we have the two holes there ready to accept the 12-volt socket and also the USB socket. Now these go into the hole. They're a 28mm hole. These two items were purchased from Halfords. They sell it as a kit, and this was bought a few years ago. I had them on my NC750X, and before I traded it in I took them off the motorbike, and now I'm going to use them here. Now once we have the sockets installed in the holes, one on the left there and this one goes in on the right, we then need to connect them to the power supply of the battery, and we also have to put the retaining nuts on the back of the sockets so they don't come out, and that's what we're going to do now. So here is the knot. The knot has a serrated edge on it, and the serrated edge goes on first, and what that serrated edge does, when you tighten it up, it stops the knot from rattling back off again. So if you are using these type of sockets, make sure you put that on the correct way. So now what we have to do is connect up the two sockets to the battery. Now on the right hand side there you can just see a fuse, inline fuse, that was installed when we put the camera system in, and that fuse needs to be pulled out. There's no fuse in there at the moment. It's taken out while you do this, otherwise the wires that you're connecting will be live, and if you touch them together you'll get quite a big bang. So we decided to solder these. We just trimmed the ends off first of all, and you will need some heat shrink sleeving if you're using this method. You can use connectors if you want, but I personally don't like connectors. I'd rather solder the wires solid and you know it's a proper job. So here I am soldering all the three wires together, the three positives, and once we have soldered the three positive wires together, we're just going to slide a little bit of heat shrink sleeving over the joint, and we're going to use a heat gun to heat the heat shrink up. And when you heat the heat shrink up, it will shrink down in size. It normally shrinks around about 60% of its normal original size. Now I'll just put a little bit of cardboard underneath the gun just to make sure I don't get any heat traveling anywhere else on any items within the motorbike. Now we did the same here on the black cable, which is the negative cable, using the same method as we did for the positive. We got a piece of cardboard underneath the cable that we're going to heat. Then we applied heat with the heat gun. The heat gun is set for about 260 degrees, and what this does is as it heats up the heat shrink contracts and seals the cable in quite nicely. So once that's done, we're going to remove this cloth. The cloth was placed there so that we don't get any bits falling into any of the electronics or anything that's in the electrical compartment there. And finally we're just going to get a cable tie and cable tie the cables up, make them all look nice and neat and tidy, and that completes the install of the power socket and the USB sockets for the NT1100 rear compartment. Now we're going to be using these power sockets for future projects, so keep an eye out on the channel for more videos relating to the NT1100. If you have an NT1100, follow along. This is one of a few modifications and projects I'm going to be doing for the NT1100, and if you subscribe you won't miss any of them as they're released. And if you do like the videos, please click the like button. It's always much appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.